How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, aka Sandy. We'll talk about that in a little while, and some hypocrisy on her behalf. Not anything really new here as far as hypocrisy is concerned, but this situation I needed to point out because it not only highlights her hypocrisy, but also the entire Democratic Party, as of late especially. Now, she was at South by Southwest out there in Austin, Texas. She was there talking about Reagan and racism and welfare queens, but she wasn't really talking about it in the true way, because if she was, she would include herself in her talk. But before I get into my breakdown of it and my reaction, what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and roll the clip. In this clip, you'll see what she said in context, and if I can find the full talk, I'll place that in the description box below. After we get done watching that, I'll talk about everything that was there, give you my 2 cents, and wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
And one perfect example, I think a perfect example of how special interests and the powerful have pitted white working class Americans against brown and black working class Americans in order to just screw over all working class Americans, is Reaganism in the 80s, when he started talking about welfare queens. Mm-hmm. So you think about this image, welfare queens, and what he was really trying to talk about was this. He was painting this photo. He was painting this like really resentful vision of essentially black women who were doing nothing, that were sucks on our country, right? And it's this whole tragedy of the commons type of thinking where it's like, because this one specific group of people that you are already kind of subconsciously primed to resent, you give them a different reason that's not explicit racism, but still rooted in a racist caricature. It gives people a logical reason to say, oh yeah, no, toss out the whole social safety net.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see that, you see what's going on there, you heard that. Now, here's my take on it. First things first, why was what Reagan said racist? What he was talking about as far as, you know, the welfare queens, the system being an issue was real, and it's still real right now as far as people that are dependent upon it and can't get off of it. Okay, welfare reform and eliminating the welfare queens and stuff like that will help black women. It'll help black people, because prior to the welfare state in 1960, 80% of children were born to two married parents in the black community. 80%. Now that's nearly the reverse, with about 76% of black children born to unmarried parents. So what changed? The welfare state. You can see the whole thing just start to go up and up and up after the welfare state came into existence. Because under the welfare state, if you're going to get these benefits, if you're going to get these goodies, you couldn't really have a man in the home, and you would have social workers come and check to see if it was a man there, to see if there was any evidence of Timberland boots and all kind of stuff like that in the house. Because if you have a man at home, that means you have two parents. You should be able to generate enough revenue to take care of the kids. Okay, you shouldn't need the government to come in and subsidize two adults taking care of kids. That was the whole thing. And then it became, well, you don't need a man because the government can be the man. You can rely upon the government for all your sustenance, your food, clothing, shelter, everything. Whereas before, you relied upon the man. You don't need him anymore. Now you're having more and more children that are born outside of wedlock. You're having more reckless decisions that are made because people know that there will be the safety net of the federal government. So now there's no real need to actually have a two-parent household. You know, women are more liberated sexually. The men don't really care. It's just too many problems that have come about as it relates to the things that happened during civil rights in the 70s and so on. That's how we've gotten here today. And welfare reform seeks to kind of reverse that trend and get us back on the right track. So it's not racist to highlight that. Now, people want to say that Reagan was racist because he was talking about the welfare queen and painted black women as some type of leech upon society. It's not even really about that. It's not about the money that they take from society. That's aside from the point. I think the bigger thing here would be people that come over here illegally, straight steal money, and that kind of thing. The problem with welfare are the people that are on it not being able to advance their lives because they're so dependent upon the government. They're always going to be attached to the government in some kind of way. Therefore, they have less ability to thrive on their own. And their kids and their kids' kids are going to be the same way. Like you'll see some project buildings that's subsidized by the government. You have 3 generations of one family in that one project building. Great grandma, grandma, and mother, all with kids, all in the same project. A lot of times the male children go to the penitentiary or the day before they turn 21, and the female children wind up just producing more children to be in this system. And then you got the whole abortion industry that siphons a lot of the lifeblood out of these communities. If you don't want the government to take care of your kids, you just send them to the abortion clinic and then you kill them right there. So all the way around, this culture of relying upon outside people to take care of your own household is really destructive. Now, AOC doesn't really understand that. This is somebody that's not even really a real politician. You're talking about a puppet. Mr. Reagan, not to be confused with Ronald Reagan, did an excellent video on YouTube exposing this, and I'll place that in the box. Basically, she was cast to be a congresswoman by the Justice Democrats by way of Brand New Congress and some other companies. She is an actor. The people that are around her, her handlers, tell her what to do. She is quite literally a puppet. And she ain't the only one. I mean, Barack Obama, all these people that have been put into high places of power are also puppets. They're being told what to do by outside forces, which is why when Trump came into office, it didn't want him because he is not a puppet. He does not have handlers telling him what to do. Other people that have handlers are being told by their handlers to try and get rid of Trump, to go against him, to paint him as some kind of racist, hateful, xenophobe, homophobe, transphobe, Jewphobe, or whatever else they want to call him. That's not the reality, though. People are just being told by their handlers, by their enablers, by their puppeteers what to do, how to do it, when to do it, so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. But I digress. To get back to the point here, AOC has no room to talk because remember when Lynne Patton came to the congressional floor and was standing behind Mark Meadows to support her friend Donald Trump against Michael Cohen because of allegations from Cohen about Trump being a racist. When she was right there, people like Rashida Tlaib or whatever her name is, spelled incorrectly, when people like her called Lynne Patton the token and AOC came on and co-signed it talking about, yes, tokenism is racism. How can you call Lynne Patton the token for defending her friend while at the same time you say that Reagan was a racist for talking about welfare queens and stuff like that? If you think that he is racist, then why are you not racist? Reagan did not name anybody specifically when you're talking about welfare reform. People just think and link his comments to the actual welfare queen in Chicago, which was really a true situation. He did not say her name, but people link her to him. But AOC was referring to Lynne Patton directly, retweeting and co-signing what Rashida Tlaib said about Lynne Patton. Okay, and this is 2019, not the 1970s or 80s. So if you're going to say that one person is racist, AOC, then how about yourself? See, this is what I talk about all the time. The Democratic Party with the hypocrisy, the outright hypocrisy. They'll tell you that somebody is racist and you shouldn't support them. They'll say that, oh, you can't be aligned with the Republican Party because they are the party of xenophobia, homophobia, of the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists. Meanwhile, they come out here and tell all types of lies. They say all types of negative things about you if you are a conservative. Even if you're a liberal and you don't just total line with them, you get all types of racial epithets. You get threatened with physical violence, with all kind of things. So I think that AOC, Rashida Tlaib, all these people in the Democratic Party, especially the new radical leftist Democratic Party, should go to the mirror, take a deep, long look, and examine themselves. Before they try to say that Reagan was a racist, before they try to say that Trump is a racist, before they try to say that anybody on the right is a racist, look at their own selves. And if they don't want to do that, then I implore anybody listen to the sound of my voice to do that. If you want to vote for an AOC, if you want to vote for anybody in the Democratic Party, look at what they're doing really. Look at what they say and see if it lines up with what they do. If AOC says that racism is wrong, then why does she call a black woman the token for defending her friend who happens to be white? I mean, let's just look at it in a real way and not the way that her handlers, her puppeteers would like for you to look at it. So that's pretty much all I got. What say you? Do you think that AOC is a big time hypocrite here? I think so, 1000%. You can't call a black woman the token and then at the same time say that somebody was racist for talking about welfare reform and welfare queens, things that actually exist, real people defrauding the government. You can't say that. Those two things cannot realistically exist simultaneously. It's just not the situation that's going on. Or am I incorrect here? Am I overreacting? Is AOC not a puppet? Although there's documented evidence of the puppeteers saying that what they're doing is real. You have AOC herself on video talking about how she got put in with these people. You got evidence of her being a puppet, okay? You have evidence of her just being a bartender and being cast as an actress essentially to be in this role. Will she last past 1 year? I know Cenk Uygur and people like that have a little bit of money and they're behind this whole situation. But since this has been exposed, since we know pretty much what she is and what others are, will she be able to last more than one term? What about the others that are in Congress right now and also other high levels of power in the government, private sector that are also puppets? What about them? Will they be exposed? How many more times must we see the Democratic Party engage in this kind of crazy hypocrisy before we just wake up and see what's really going on? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.